All right. Dynamite Delight. Sorry for the bump. Someone's putting their stuff up against the wall outside. Guys, just in case you're going to, before I get started, just in case you're going to leave me a message, because no one's left me one yet. I know about Roger Jackson, Rampage Jackson's son. I know about what happened with Psycho Stu. I know. I didn't make a video on it yet because I wanted to find out what new information was coming out. So I've waited for the last couple of days because this happened Saturday. I have not said anything because, one, I learned about it about a day and a half afterward. But two, I want to see what else is out there. I know what happened on Kick. I know about the fight. I've actually seen the fight. Well, technically it wasn't even a fight. But the point is, I've seen it. I know what happened. And I will make a video this Thursday. Just in case you wanted to know. Now, you see the title of this video. It looked like the 90s. And I'm going to make this very clear. Looking like the 90s sometimes could be a good thing. Because you get nostalgic for the 90s. Or any time that you grew up during those times. But I'm going to say this right now. AEW looking like the 90s. I don't need to wait till the end of this review. They look like an indie show. Now you're going to say, well, that's great. That's ECW. No. There's a difference. There's a difference between looking like an ECW indie show when they were first starting out, when they were East Coast, East Championship Wrestling, or just some indie show that has no recognition, no notoriety, nothing. They're just starting out. And that is what AEW looked like in the 2300 arena. Yes, they had a great set. But when they're beginning to try and look like AEW, they try too hard. So now you look like a 90s indie show instead of the show that people want to emulate, which is AEW in the 90s. There's a difference between wanting to emulate something from the past and basically looking like something from the past that's not what you're emulating. That's the deal. Now, the wrestling is all generally all right. Now, I'm not going to really cover much about the wrestling. It's more about what they wanted to present in the storytelling. But I will say this. Moxley and Garcia. Okay about a match. Well, the match was a third match. Garcia didn't win. And then there was a strangeness after the match when Mox went to him and started talking to him like he was trying to be friendly to him. And Garcia wasn't having any of it. It felt awkward. Then we got Bane and Penelope Forbes versus Cameron and what happened to Anna Jay? Is she hurt? You guys can tell me below. I haven't checked. Is Anna Jay hurt? Is she's out for some reason? Or they just didn't want to show her? I don't know which one. So you guys tell me why they switched to Chris Statlander. I don't know why. But the person who gets hosed again is Penelope Forbes. I want this girl to leave the company now. I know she's under contract still. I doubt that she can leave. If she redid her contract or renewed the extension, she made a stupid mistake. I would rather see her being in TNA at this point than her being here. And understand, I don't want to see her in Silver Lake WWE because they're not going to use her. I do believe at least with TNA, she will be somewhat used properly. She would be used. At least that'll be something. And being here, only thing she is a punching bag. Only thing she does is job. That's it. And it doesn't make Megan look any better. And it doesn't make her look great at all. And understand, I don't mind Penelope Forbes. I actually like her. More than I like Cameron. I'm not even saying I don't like Harley Cameron. She does have personality. And I'm not talking about those big ass titties of hers. She actually has a decent personality when they let her use it. Right now, she's a cliche. With a mask over her nose and stuff because of where it got broke. That's all she is now. She's a wrestler with a big pair of tits, a mask, and a cliche. Before, she had more personality when she was doing the puppet shows and singing. She had more personality than now. She's just her big tits, her face covered with that mask to protect it because it's still not fully healed yet, and feel the wrath. That's it. She should be more than that, and she's not. There you go. Next. And I'm not even talking about who won or not, because it makes no sense. Look. Why did she roll into the ring? Why did Willow Nightingale roll into the ring? Why? Why did she even come down to the ring in the first place? And I'm sure you're going to say, dude, it's because they're still working out trying to be friends or not. Honestly, I don't want them as friends. I don't want to see Willow Nightingale to be friends with a Chris Statlander. I'd rather see them fight one another because it's more entertaining. Because they weren't doing that much with them when they were friends, and at least they gave us something different when they weren't friends. So that's the deal. Next, we get an 8-man tag. We get the Don Callis family versus Jet Speed, King, and Bandito, the new champions. Why are they in a 4-way? No, not 4-way. 8. What? Why are they in an 8-man tag? Why are you newly... This is where it seems indie. This is where it feels indie. You now just did... You just did Forbidden Door. You give Bandito and a Brody King the championships. Why are they in an 8-man tag? Why? They're the tag champions. Why are they in an 8-man tag versus the Don Callis family? Why? And worse, you get the Trios Championship. Ops. And that's the end of the show. No, I'm skipping one. No, actually, I'm not skipping one. This isn't the end of the show. I almost forgot about Darby Allin and Claudio. Almost did. This is what this show made me feel. It feels indie as fuck. And it's not a good indie 90s look. It's just an indie show that's at the 2300 Arena. But you got the Ops going against the Gates of Agony. You see I'm botching now. You had, I should say that, not have, had AOG with they had something with Ricochet. He was interesting when he was with Swerve. He needed a team. He now had a team. You're not even making them mean anything. Why are they not the ones going against the Ops? Why are they not the ones trying to win? Trying to win against the Ops. This is the thing. You put them up against the Ops, and they don't win. If you want to make Ricochet mean something with the Gates of Agony, why are they not being built? And then you throw them at the Ops, and they lose. And I know you're going to say, well, look what happened with MVP. He messed it up for them. I can understand it. But why not wait until they won, then screw with them? And I know you're going to say, dude, you do remember that the Hurt Syndicate won nothing at Forbidden Door. They lost. Yes. I know they lost. But at this point, it would have made some sense for them to wait until they won and then screw with them. Not saying that you see Bobby Lashley going to be part of the Trios Championships. I don't see them doing that. I know they want to put the main title on him eventually. But it would have made more sense to have Ricochet as champ with the Gates of Agony. It would have made more sense. Because of if he hadn't messed with the Hurt Syndicate, he would have this. And I think Ricochet and the Hurt... You see where this is confusing. Because you want to make the Hurt Syndicate look good. But you use Ricochet to mess them up. Then you have Ricochet do this. Where Ricochet really needs to be over with the Gates of Agony. And he's not. So you do nothing with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony when you put them together when Ricochet was hot as a heel. Then with the Hurt Syndicate, you use Ricochet to mess them up, which makes no sense. Because if it's going to be MJF messing with them, would have made more sense. But here's the thing. This is where it makes sense. When I wasn't making any sense. When was the last time Ricochet even interacted with the Hurt Syndicate? Tell me, how many months has it been? I'll take my time. I'm waiting. Watch is not working. There hasn't been. Months upon months. Ricochet has not interacted with them at all. The only one that interacted with the Hurt Syndicate at one point was Swerve. And MJF. Why would you use Ricochet and not make it mean something because nothing? And then we get the final match. We get Claudio versus Allen in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I won't say it was bad because it was pretty good. And now this is trying to build up a story between Mox and Allen because Allen wants a match at All Out. Flat out, he wants one against Mox. I can understand the ending of the show. I understand it. They're trying to get rid of him. It didn't work. He ran away. Fine. But you look at the rest of the show. You look at what was spoken about. It feels indie as fuck. And it's not the AEW indie that you want. FTR segment. Was it good? It was okay. Seeing that now, finally, we're moving away from the patriarchy, which is a matriarchy, and now Christian is now helping Adam take care of his problem with the FTR, you wonder, okay, wouldn't it make more sense to put the titles on FTR? Now, I'm not saying that they should have, because Bandito and Brody King were over a lot more than FTR, but there's a reason for that. Because FTR has not been built. That's the main reason they did it. FTR feels empty. And seeing that halfway gets nailed by Christian, fine. Fight breaks out, fine. Now they're going to do this at All Out, and they're called now C&C. Cope and Christian. They're now called C&C. Okay. I'm not going to say that's a bad name. I'm not. But I'm going to say this. Wouldn't it be better if they had the titles? Just saying. Next. And I didn't figure out about the ref. I didn't. I just thought it wasn't necessary to say anything about Turner. Paul Turner. It really doesn't matter. They all know, we all know, a decision is final. And seeing Dax trying to change it back, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway. Next. Let me tell you this. The video package with Darby Allin using the hole where his ears open cut. Most of his ears gone now. It's gone. Most of his ears actually gone. Not all of it, the earlobe. Most of his earlobe. You see how long my earlobe is. Most of it is gone like about here now. And he actually used, it looks like some of the real blood from his ear to be used inside the segment that he was talking about how he wants to get his hands on Moxley and that Moxley just ruined everything for everybody. I won't say that it was bad, but I'm not telling you that it was great. It was somewhere in between. I'm not saying that I was disgusted by seeing real blood coming from his ear. No, I've seen worse. But I feel like due to the fact that this show just didn't feel right. That it didn't feel like ECW. It felt like an indie show trying to do... Think of this. You know what this felt like? Game Changer Wrestling. In its earlier years. Before they tried to change everything away from Nick Gage. It felt like Game Changer Wrestling. An indie as fuck company that was doing nothing but hardcore wrestling and no variation, and that was one of the reasons why it's never gotten major exposure. Other than when it dealt with AEW at one point. That's the way AEW looked. And seeing that Darby Allin did this made me think of Nick Gage, which turned me off. And I'm not someone who hated Nick Gage, but I knew for a fact that Nick was not the best thing for Game Changer Wrestling, GCW. Just isn't. That's the reason why they moved away from him. That's just how it felt. Next. Hook coming back. I don't know how to feel about that. Seeing that he circled the wagon, pretty much the ring, and it was about Wheeler Yuta, who was pissed off that he had been in this city, and that he bled for the city, and they call him "fuck you, Yuta," and he's going like, you know what? I don't give a damn. I'm part of the Death Riders. I don't need you. Hook comes out, puts a little bit of red rum around him. He doesn't really lay him out, and that's the thing that makes no sense. That makes no sense. Hook should have knocked his ass out and made him sleep, and he didn't. Why? Why didn't he put Yuta to sleep? He didn't. He partially put Yuta to sleep. He fell into his knees, and then he gently just walked away. And to be honest, the music they're playing for him doesn't feel like it's for him. You guys tell me below, does Hook's new music really feel like it's Hook's music? Or it feels like maybe Taz's music? Understand, Taz is around my age. He's in his 50s. I am now 54 years old. Taz is maybe about 54, 56, around my age at least. This is what Taz may like. But then it's like, this music doesn't feel like Hook. So not only does the music not make much sense, and I didn't say anything the last couple of times when they showed the vignette of him, it's just I wanted to wait and see how it would feel when I see him with it. I don't get it. The music doesn't really fit him. Then he does this, where he circles the ring, jumps into the ring. He does do a Superman punch. He does do a choke, but then he doesn't choke him out. And then he leaves the ring. It feels like there's something missing. Something, you guys tell me what is missing. I don't know. Mercedes Moné, 9 belts Moné. She stated on camera that she wants to beat Ultimo's Dragons. I knew that he had at least 8 belts. I didn't know he had 10. I knew he had gotten at least 8 belts in his time when he was champion in New Japan. 8. But now, she wants to break his record of having 10 belts. She wants to be 11 belt Moné or more. And I'm like, why? Here's the thing. I know she defended it when she was in London. The Red Pro title. And I'm not against it. But because we're not seeing her at least have a snippet from any of these companies. Understand, I'm not saying they need to do a match from these companies. But if Mercedes is winning these titles, we need to see it. We need to see the last few moments before she wins the title. Like what happened when she first got New Japan. You see, I'm getting angry with this. She is a 8 champion. If you count the Owen Hart tournament title, which is not really a title, it's just a belt, she's 8. But they're using that title as 9. When she was New Japan Pro Strong, at least we got to see when she was about to have the match with Willow and when she tried to win against Willow. Only thing I want to see is who she's going to be challenging and who she beats to get the title. She did that. They did that for maybe 1 belt, 2 at the most, not the rest. It feels empty. If this was ECW, Paulie would have made sure it was seen. It doesn't mean it had to be a full match, just to be seen. Because he wanted to make sure that he got something that would hold the people. Guys, when you see this situation, and I'm sure I'm missing some other stuff here. If I'm missing anything, I'm sorry. But I want to make this very clear. Because I don't need to make this more than 21 minutes. This show felt indie as fuck. And not in a good way. It was like they were trying so hard to do ECW, they missed it. And they went and acted like an indie show from the 90s that learned about ECW becoming popular and tried to copy them and didn't do a great job. That's the truth. It was like they were trying more harder than ECW and it didn't work. But it's just me. Peace. And I will do the video about Rampage Jackson's son. It'll come out tomorrow. Peace.